With the release of Pokémon Legends Z-A inching ever so closer, I want to highlight some hopes people have for the games, and just how likely they are to actually happen. As much as I would love to see the protagonist whip out a Glock and start airing out the place, I don't think it's gonna happen, I'm gonna be real guys. I think the Pokemon community is seriously lacking in any positivity. It's exhausting. So I hope this video is a nice change of pace from all that nonsense. Also, it's almost entirely possible that none of these things get added to the game, and that's okay. It's always fun to just speculate, wonder, and toss ideas around. I know there's gonna be some Debbie Downers in the comments saying, we're getting our hopes up for nothing. This is just for fun. It's nothing too serious. Do I think this will be the best Pokemon ever made? No, probably not. But from what I've seen, the game looks really cool. Like, Scarlet and Violet weren't the best, nowhere near it, but it's the most fun I've had playing a Pokemon game in a very long time. And I think that's what matters most in the long run. Anyways, let's get reading. Hey Plasgold says, I hope the male player character models get the same customization choices as the female player character models. I could not agree more. Oh my god. I'm not gonna lie, when I wrote this, I thought you said the same level of customization, but the point still stands. I pretty much always play as a boy in every Pokemon game, and almost every single time there's character customization, the female options are always better. Or not even just better, they just get way more options in general. This includes hairstyles too. I pretty much always have to stick with the default hair because all of the other ones are hairstyles people in their 40s would have. I'm trying to catch a Pokemon, not attend a business meeting and catch a flight by 4. We saw in the most recent trailer that you can have 2 hair colors, which is giving me some hope, but they mostly highlighted the female character customization, which has me a little worried. Please, just please give me some generic anime protagonist hair or something. Anything. I don't care if it's spiky and over the top. At least it doesn't look out of place. Pokélad says, we need to be able to customize where our Keystone is stored. This one is very much in line with the character customization one, but I wholeheartedly agree. A lot of people put this as their hope. I always thought it was super cool whenever trainers would have their Megastone integrated into their design, or like just having an accessory with a Megastone embedded into it. I know there's a ton of characters who do this, at least in the anime, but the only one I remember is Cynthia's Megastone is embedded into her lipstick. Obviously, it probably won't be as in-depth as that, but even just choosing from a necklace, a hair clip, and the standard bracelet, or maybe even on your belt would be pretty cool. Professional Flower says, Mega Noivern! I agree with some of what others are saying, just wanted to add my bet, bestie. Simple and straight to the point, but I agree. Seeing a Mega Noivern would be pretty sick. With just how popular Noivern is, I feel like this isn't too out of the question to do. Mitsuki Dapkin simply says, voice acting. I could not agree more. I already made a whole video talking about it. I feel like we should have had this so long ago already. The Pokemon anime has been around since forever ago, so it wouldn't even feel that out of place. I genuinely just cannot see a reason for why it wouldn't be here. Some people are saying it wouldn't be fair because there would only be English and Japanese voice acting, which I know it is unfair, but I hate to break it to you. That's just how most games are with voice acting. Some people also thought it might have been because of time, but nope. They've delayed the game once already, so obviously they have no problem with doing that. And I don't think it would really take that long to record anyway. I just don't get it. The mobile game Pokemon Masters EX has voice acting, yet the main games still don't. I feel like if the game did feature voice acting, they would have showed it off by now, surely. But to be fair, we haven't really gotten that much information about the game. From the gameplay I've seen though, it looks unlikely that we'll have voice acting unless they're saving it for like major cutscenes, which I would be totally fine with. We don't need another Pierre situation again. We do at the very least have grunt sounds for the protagonist, so that's a step in the right direction. Well, less of a step, more like a tiptoe. Point is, I do not see this happening, even though I would love it. Tove2 Elabugaloo says, I hope Mario's in the game. Tove, I'm sorry, you might want to sit down for this. Colorful Cave Wall says, ability to enter and walk around in all of the buildings. I really hate that they just took this out of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. In a previous video, I incorrectly said that Sword and Shield didn't have it, but it did, so oops. I'm sorry, I was wrong. My memory cannot be trusted. But I feel like it would be even more strange if in the game that takes place entirely in a city, you can't even explore the buildings. And I know you said all of the buildings, and I highly doubt it'll be all of them. Obviously, we have the stores and like the cafes and other important buildings, but even just a handful of standard ones would be nice. They can just be like how the buildings in old Pokemon games work. You have people in their homes, you talk to them, they give you a TM or an item or something, they have some funny little dialogue, and that's it. That's all they really gotta do. It wouldn't be the end of the world if this wasn't in the game. It's just mostly there for flavor and immersion, but sadly, I don't think we're gonna be seeing seeing that in this game though. Looking at the trailers, none of the doors really look interactable, and the Pokemon Center isn't even technically indoors. You just kind of walk up to it. So again, it has me doubting it, but whether this is in the game or not though, I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, this was the worst game ever. I couldn't walk into someone's house. Rainfire forgets to animate says, I just want Spinda to finally be in a game again. At first I was like, aw, they just want their favorite Pokemon in a game again. But then I realized, wait, how long has Spinda not been in a game for? And apparently it has not been in any of the Switch titles, minus BDSP because, well, it's BDSP. But still, that's crazy. Bring him back. Poor Spinda. Rhoda says, Goodra Mega, I'm praying. As much as I would love to see a Mega Goodra, I don't think it's happening, mostly because we've already gotten a Hisuian Goodra back in Legends Arceus. So having back-to-back like fan service for Goodra, like I love Goodra, but it just wouldn't be fair to the rest of the Gen 6 mons. But I mean, if it does happen, I wouldn't be complaining too much. A DJ says, Callum and Serena to be in the game. It would be really cool to see what they've been up to, especially since they're showing us more and more of the older characters. It's pretty rare for us to see protagonists that aren't Red. It's just Red. He's just the only guy who shows up again. And that's so lame because I want to see other characters too. Like, where did they end up? What are they doing? I at least want to hear about them in dialogue or something, though they probably wouldn't even be referenced by name. It'll probably just be something cryptic like, a while back there was a pretty strong trainer who took down Team Flare, or something like that. Mario Plushie Enjoy says, a return of the Gen 6 friendship minigame. Instead of the 3DS touchscreen, they could use the Switch 1 touchscreen or the Switch 2 mouse. I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion. I'm not entirely sure about how people feel about Pokemon to me, but I really liked it. It's like whenever games give you the option to pet a dog. It might not seem like a lot, but it's really fun interacting with virtual animals. The only reason I didn't use it too much back then was because it would raise your friendship with that Pokemon, and then they would do bullshit where they tank hits they should have died to, crit more often, and while yeah, that's objectively better, it makes the game way easier than it already is. I just want to be able to pet my Pokemon and feed them and clean them. That's it. They don't gotta do anything for me. Though I'm not entirely sure how they would implement this. Yeah, if you're playing handheld, you could just use the touchscreen, but what about when it's docked? The Switch 2 has the mouse function, but the Switch 1 doesn't, so it could just go with motion controls. I know you could pet your partner Pikachu and Eevee in Let's Go, so maybe they'll just do that again. This is a small feature, but one I like regardless. Rigo says, if there's any multiplayer content, that would be fire. As much as I would love for this game to have multiplayer content, they already told us it's not happening, which is sad, but to be fair, real-time battles with other people sounds complicated, but super cool. Legends Arceus is pretty much only single player too, and I did have a lot of fun in that game, so I'm not too sad this game won't have any, and I'm pretty sure we can at least trade, which is always useful. But we did see a new screenshot or something. I don't know. This isn't in the script, but I'm gonna put it in anyway. You're welcome. It says here the mystery gift function can be found within the link play menu. What does that mean? Like, no way they only have that menu for like trading and then mystery gifts, right? Or maybe we're crazy. Maybe that's all it's for. I don't know. All I'm saying is it's more likely than it was a few days ago. Bend Info says, I really want to get nice shiny hunting methods. So true. Generation 6 was the golden age for shiny hunting. It was super easy to do. Some would even say too easy. And I'd imagine it's going to be even easier in this game since we can see so many Pokemon at once. I do wonder what the new shiny hunting method would be though. Last time we had sandwiches, which I honestly would have never predicted. I mean, who would have? They're sandwiches. Why are they here? Maybe certain areas will have like outbreaks like in Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet, but maybe it'll be renamed to Golden Hour or something since outbreaks makes it sound like an infestation, but that's not exactly new. So maybe instead of sandwiches, we have like lures or incense or something. That's my best guess. I can't really think of anything out of thin air. Like again, after sandwiches, I feel like all logic is out the window. What is your name? What am I supposed to say? Seven. Come on, guys. What is this? 7-star JJ says, my hope for Nintendo in general is to help me save my Pokemon collection. I'm gonna lose my account because of the user agreement? What did you do? I haven't heard anyone talk about this. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I hope you get to keep your account. Asakedia says, change the gender of the character on the fly to avoid getting locked behind the first choice. Or even better, customization options being the same for both characters instead. If that is not in the game, I'll pick the female model as always because most games have better options for that one. As convenient as this would be, I sadly don't think this is happening, mostly because the rival is the character you don't choose. So like say in X and Y you chose Callum, so Serena is your rival, but then you switch gender to female, so technically you're Serena now, then there would be two Serenas in the world. But like you said, character customizations being the same for both characters could help remedy this. Catchy says, Mega Charizard Z. Unironically, I would love to see this. I know this would make a ton of people mad. Oh boy, more Charizard fan service, whoop-de-doo. But we already have Charizard X, we have Charizard Y. So out of curiosity, I just want to see Charizard Z's final design. And I say final because we already got to see some leaked concept art from the Terra leak, but shh. But I honestly don't mind Charizard fan service too much. Like junk food, like I know too much of it is bad for you, but I just can't help it. Dragon Lemur says, I'd love to see some Kalos megas, especially the starters, fossil Pokemon, and the Go-Goat. The Kalos starters got robbed. It's so lame they didn't get mega evolutions despite being from the generation it was introduced in. So if they don't get them in this game, I will be so sad. I'm fairly certain that they will get mega evolutions though. Greninja's popularity will surely secure it. The fossil Pokemon getting mega evolutions would be super cool. I really like both Tyrantrum and Aurora, so yes, I really hope this happens. Go-Goat is pretty cool too. I just hope you actually get to ride it more often. I remember they advertised X and Y as having Go-Goat be rideable like super heavily, and then in the game you do it like what, 2 times, maybe 3. So hopefully this time it's like, you know, more prevalent. Probably not, but hey, I can dream. Pretty much happy with almost any Gen 6 Pokemon getting a mega evolution. I feel like they all have amazing designs, except Aromatisse. Yeah. Delphox says, I hope for a good balance in how the gameplay is shown to you and figuring it out yourself. Like the basics are shown to you, but there are a few cool things you have to discover yourself. I really hope this is the case, or at least make sure it's not too hand-holdy. I always think it's super cool when you discover a mechanic in a game all on your own, and you're like, what? You can do that? It's just such a great feeling. But to be fair, sometimes it can be kind of annoying, especially if it makes doing something super convenient and without it, it's a chore. Because then you just feel like, I could have been doing that the whole time. And also, if you never find out, you spend the whole game just not doing it. And another thing, something I can't stand in games is when a game starts off super slow. I've recently been playing Twilight Princess with one of my friends, and the start of the game is so slow. But once that's over, the game's really fun. It can just really kill the vibes or any excitement you have to play a game if the start is super slow. I highly doubt this is going to be the case with Legends Z-A though. Most recent Pokemon games haven't been that handholdy, or I might just be traumatized from Sun and Moon because that game is cutscene hell. Playing through the game the first time is awesome, but after that, oh my god, the game's such a drag to get through. Sandstorm the Traveler says, honestly, really want more ways to interact with Pokemon. Make them feel more involved in the story. Kinda like how Sun and Moon would have characters mention your Pokemon in the dialogue. Why can't that happen again? It was so neat, and I would like to be able to eat at a restaurant with my Pokemon. I just want more team bonding activities, to be honest. I really like when Sun and Moon would do that. It was such a small little detail, but hearing about your specific Pokemon during dialogue was awesome. And it's such an easy thing to implement too. I think they still sort of do this, but it's a lot more rare than it was in Sun and Moon. I'm also hoping for more Pokemon team interacting. I think we will be getting that since we can just have our Pokemon following us, and it looks like you were able to sit down with them at a table. That might have just been a cutscene, but who knows? I guess we'll just have to wait and see how in-depth it truly is. Xenobolt says, I hope we get a similar system to the ride Pokemon from PLA. Perhaps various Kalosian Pokemon or Zygarde taking more forms to help us traverse, the latter being much more likely. If we don't get this in the game, I'm actually gonna lose my goddamn mind. They went out of their way to sue Palworld because they had pals you could ride. So now it's not in the game anymore. Great. So if I don't see riding Pokemon in this game, they're actually just being greedy bastards. To the surprise of no one, but still. A lot of the time people just chalk me up to be a Game Freak or Pokemon shill, but no, I'm just generally a positive person. I think people who just hate everything are really annoying to be around. Is there anything you actually like? I feel like people like that are just never happy with anything. There will always be a complaint. Anyways, if the Pokemon company does bullshit I don't agree with, I'm not gonna justify it. They're shitty for doing it. I feel like too many people see this as a black and white issue. Either you're against everything Pokemon does, or you're supporting everything Pokemon does. But that's not the case at all. Anyways, back to your hopes. Carbon Cutter says, I'm mainly hoping for things to do around the city, like being able to explore inside some of the buildings, or have challenges / missions that you could do, just extra stuff to do while exploring aside from battles. Maybe add back some of the mini games, or have a new way to interact with your Pokemon. It'd also be interesting if the city changed due to what you do in the story. Like if there are missions or something equivalent, the more of them you do for one group can change some of the dialogue, or even increase the difficulty of any battles you have with the other groups. Well, I don't know if you've heard, but this is in the game, at least the missions are. You have little side quests around the city to complete, which are always a nice little change of pace. Though I'm not sure if we have any mini games or any new way of interacting with Pokemon yet, so we will just have to wait and see. I'm really hoping that completing missions will have noticeable changes in the city, though I doubt it. Onion Ringy Yummy says, with all hints, Mega Scrafty better be coming. I feel like Mega Scrafty is all but confirmed at this point. I forgot his name, but one of your rivals uses a Scraggy, and he has a Mega Bracelet. So I can only assume that since his main Pokemon is Scraggy, and he has a Mega Bracelet, Scrafty will get a Mega Evolution. It would be kind of awkward if that was his ace the whole game, then suddenly he just started using a Mega Pidgeot instead. So there's absolutely no way Scrafty doesn't get a a Mega Evolution. I think that's the only thing in this video I can confirm without a shadow of a doubt. Calvin Colon says, Mega Haxorus. I feel like this has a better chance of happening than Mega Goodra, mostly because Goodra has already gotten a Hisuian form. So it getting yet another form in the next Legends game doesn't seem as likely, but it could still happen. Rose says, they need to bring back rollerblading and the tricks. I didn't even think about this, but yes, I really love the rollerblading in X and Y. It was just walking, but faster and more fluid. It was the perfect middle ground between running and using a bike. It was amazing. However, sadly, I don't think this is happening, mostly because I feel like they would have already shown it off by now. So we'll just have to walk around the city, which isn't the worst thing ever, but if rollerblading was to ever make a return, it would have been now. And that's a wrap. Leave some of your other hopes in the comments, and hell, you could even leave a worry if you want, but only if it actually adds something of value, not just game look bad. Trust me, we've heard. Anyways, go watch my Pokemon voice acting video, or go watch my realistic Pokemon team video. I'll catch you all later, everyone. Bye-bye.